If you are a woman living her best hot mess express life while simultaneously crushing it, and you're craving more clarity, purpose, and excellence, get ready because you're in the right spot. I am your host, Chelsea DeBruin-Colbert, and I want to welcome you to Season 2 of All Things Excellence, the podcast, where I'll be bringing you all the inspiration and insights your excellence-seeking heart desires. This season, I'm stepping back into chasing big, bold, and absolutely terrifying goals, sharing every honest step and misstep along the way. We're continuing our beloved Unscripted series, featuring live clarity coaching sessions with guests just like you, and diving deep into raw behind-the-scenes stories of powerhouse women founders I am wildly obsessed with, whose journeys will fuel your own. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready to discover just how close you are to the life your soul is calling you to create. This is All Things Excellence. Hey, All Things Excellence fam, we have a super fun treat for you today. Today, I am bringing you right inside a live typing session with a coaching client. She has been to a couple of my Enneagram events. So she has considered you. There's been different times where you've maybe thought you were a 3. We've talked about the idea of you being a 5. And so we decided at the end of the day that we just need to do a typing session and we need to get really clear on it, because what your Enneagram type is dictates what really motivates you at the end of the day and how you're reacting to situations and how you respond to other people and how you feel in situations with other people. And so that's what we were kind of texting back and forth. You were like, I think at the end of the day, I just need to do a typing session. Yes.
Yeah, we've kind of gone back and forth, and a previous conversation left a lot of question marks. And so we're just like, okay, let's figure out the nuts and bolts and go from
I love it because it does tell us a lot.
there. It
It tells
does.
us,
It really does.
yeah, it tells us why we're motivated. I mean, it also, I think, yes, it tells us why we're motivated. It helps us narrow down and figure out what we want to go after in life. But I think the biggest thing that it does is I see this with my family. It tells us why we're reacting the way that we are in different situations. Right. No, you're like, yes. So this is what I love about the Enneagram. So you guys, what we're going to do, we're going to dive into each core type. On our side, I actually have things that I'm going to be bringing up that she's going to be looking at, but I will be reading it off so you'll be able to see it. So we're going to cover each core type, the 4 pieces of each core type. Then we're going to talk about the triads. Triads always really help me bring somebody in and help them understand like which triad they're most likely going to be. Helps me type someone really, really well. And then we're going to talk about like what really activates and triggers each type. And so within doing these 3 different sections, we are absolutely going to figure out what your Enneagram type is. So, are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you. Okay, so let's dive in here. All right. So first of all, if you guys do not know this, there are 9 types in the Enneagram. The Enneagram tells you, it doesn't say what you're doing, it's saying why are you doing it. It's not saying what is the behavior, it's saying what is the motivation behind the behavior. I say anybody can be kind, anybody wants to achieve, anybody wants to win, anybody can be helpful. Anybody, but it's like, but why are you being helpful? And so the Enneagram helps us figure out what is the motivation behind that is causing those actions. There are 9 different types, but those types also have things called wings. They have a place they go in stress. They have a place they go in security. Every single Enneagram type, like the Enneagram type 1, a type 1 has 9 different levels of health. So not all Enneagram 1s look the same. They all look very different. I will tell you from the get-go, I am a type 8 for sure. I question myself all the time, but I always am I am always a type 8. And there are 9 different levels of health. So if you've met an 8 and you're like, oh my gosh, there's no way she can be an 8. I've met an 8. They're bossy, they're rude, they're this, they're that. Okay, y'all. Super healthy Enneagram 8 right here. That is probably an example of a very unhealthy Enneagram 8. So just remembering that not all types are created equal. We have different levels of health with every single type, and we don't ever want to throw somebody in a box or use it as a sword or a shield. This is a tool to help us do life together better, to help us create better connection. And so let's only use it for great positive things and for growth. So diving in. Type one. Type one can be known as the perfectionist. The typing certification program I went through, they always are calling it the principled reformer, but it's really known out there in the world as the perfectionist. Their core fear being wrong, bad, evil, inappropriate, or corruptible. Their core desire to have integrity, to be right, to be the good person, right? I'm good. At the end of the day, I'm a good human. The core weakness is resentment. And that's because they do come out of that gut anger triad and they tend to press down their anger and not lash out at people. Like the eight is more the person, the anger triad that's going to lash out at people, while the one can tend to like keep it a little bit more quiet. One wing twos can be more externally critical and opinionated if they're upset about something, but for the most part, they do shove that down and it leads to that resentment, frustration, dissatisfaction, just feeling like no one is listening to them and no one is doing what they're supposed to do. I always ask Enneagram ones, is this the rule or is this actually just your rule? But they feel like their rules really are the rules. It's how everyone's supposed to be doing life. And this is just what you do. The core longing of a type one, that perfectionist, the principled reformer, is just that you are good. Not because everything that you do is perfect and good, but just you as a human, you are good. Is there anything in the type one that stuck out to you?
A little bit, yes.
What would be the pieces that can't kind of hit you and you went, that could be me.
I really don't like to be wrong.
Okay.
Not in a sense of like, I'm right, I'm always right, like
Yeah.
my way or no way type thing. Um,
You just like being accurate.
have,
Is that what you're saying?
yeah, being accurate, the part about having integrity, like just being a good person.
Okay, so you want to be
But
accurate, have integrity. So here's a question. Okay, so you want to
but
be
I'm
ac
not a rule follower.
okay. But so being accurate, like can you give me an example? So like if the roles were reversed right now and you told me some information and then I came back and told you, well, actually that information's incorrect and I know for a fact that it's incorrect. Is that what you're talking about?
Sort of.
Like, what's a situation where you've been inaccurate before, and how did it make you feel? So, in your job, you do colors and style, right? Like, you help
Hmm.
people figure out their colors.
Yeah.
Okay. So, has there ever been a time where you felt like you were giving people the wrong information?
Try that I can say that it's wrong.
Okay.
Sometimes they want to challenge based on what they like read on the internet or what somebody
Yeah.
told them. And I just have to remind them, like,
Yeah.
I have done through training, through education,
Hmm.
that might not necessarily be true. This is what I learned. This is what I see,
Hmm.
type thing.
Here's the thing. When you say some information and somebody combats it and you feel like your information is wrong, do you feel more like you were unprepared or more like you look dumb because you weren't right?
Probably more that I look dumb.
Okay. So I have a friend that I externally she presents so much like a one and she needs everything to be such a certain way. And then I started realizing that she was saying, but when things aren't like this and people see it, we look like idiots. We look dumb. We look stupid. And I'm like, who cares what you look like at all? Like, what does that matter? And so I started realizing it's actually more about appearance for her, right? It's not about a rule. It's not about having all the correct information, but it is about appearance, right? It's the appearing dumb. Right? Okay. So let's move on to type two. So type two is the helper, also known as the nurturing supporter. They're generous, servant-hearted, empathetic, people-pleasing. These are these people that they have a deep need to be needed. Like ones have a deep need to be perfect, twos have a deep need to be needed. Their core fear of being worthless, needy, um, unworthy of being loved. Like the core longing is they just want to be loved for just being them. It's like I don't love you because you're helpful and you're always that person, that go-to person that if I say, "Hey, will you help me?" you're the person that says yes. That's not why I love you. I love you just for who you are. Their core weakness is pride because they deny their own needs and help others instead. Like there's this quote, it's one of my favorite quotes, helping others at the detriment to yourself is anything but noble. And there are people that look there. Here's one thing. I have twos and nines mistype a lot because nines are the peacemakers. And so with this, you have to ask yourself, am I being helpful because I have a deep need to be needed? And my value and my worth is held in if I'm being helpful, or am I helpful because then it helps keep the peace, right? Which would be more of a type nine. Is there anything about a type two that pops out to you?
Just being like being accepted and appreciated for who I am. I would not consider myself a people pleaser by any means. I can easily say, I
You have
can't
no,
help you with
yeah.
that. Not
You have
my
no
problem
problem
to
saying
fix.
no. You don't feel like
Yeah,
you have to. If
no,
you help someone, you don't feel like they need to help you back. You don't feel like that strings
no.
attached. Like, well, I helped you. Like, why aren't you
Mm-mm.
being helpful to me? Okay. It's just a general exception. Okay. So
Yeah.
moving on to type three. So type two is in the heart triad. Type three also in the heart triad. Type three are known as the achievers. They are accomplished, excelling, driven, but can also they can be a little bit more of a chameleon because their biggest thing is their basic need is that the world sees them as successful. That when people look at them, they go, she's got it together. So they can also mistype with that perfectionist, right? Where it's like, is it about being perfect for the sake of being perfect because those are the rules? Or is it about appearance? It's like, I need people to look at me and be like, she's got it together. She's awesome. She's kicking butt. She's taking names. And really their basic need is to appear successful. Their core fear is failing, being incompetent, inefficient, exposed. So like ones need perfection, threes need efficiency, and eights need excellence. And it can all look very similar. They also fear being exposed, worthless, or unable to appear successful. Their core desire to be valuable, admired, and respected. Okay. This can deteriorate after they chase success. The core weakness is deceit. And it's deceit because they deceive themselves and everyone into believing that they're only as good as the image that they present to the world. They are very much like the Wizard of Oz, like Oz behind the curtain, and they've got to live this chameleon life of like, this is who I am behind closed doors and what's really going on with me, and this is what I'm presenting to the world. And they can start to feel a little almost like a disassociation with that. They can feel a little bit more on like the imposter syndrome thing. So there's that. Their core longing is you're loved just for who you are. You do not have to achieve for me to love you and for me to have you as my friend. Like you alone are enough. What pieces hit you there?
For a long time, I thought that I was a three.
Yeah.
I would say in professional settings, and I don't think any professional ever wants that experience, but
Yeah.
professional settings, I definitely don't want to appear or be in a situation of somebody questioning my competency. Um, in
Okay.
general, like I want everything to be efficient. Um, like not just for me, but for other people. I always say work smart, not hard. Like make things efficient.
Why do you want things efficient? What happens when things are efficient?
I think it's just simplicity and it makes, regardless of what you're doing, like it can be as simple as your grocery store pickup or like
Yeah.
your morning routine. If it's efficient, it's effective, it won't take a lot of time, and you can move on to doing other things that bring you joy or
Yeah. Do you,
tackling the important things.
do you feel like the more efficient you are, the more simple things are, and the more things that you can kind of like box check and get through in your day?
A little bit, yeah. But just we all have a full plate of life, and so if you can make things efficient, it just I think takes some of the overwhelm out of all the balls that you have in the air.
Oh, okay. So the more efficient you are, the more simple life is, and the less you tend to be overwhelmed.
I
That
don't know if
is
there's truth in that, but that's my thought.
so it's not about is it true? It's about is it your true? Okay, we're gonna roll into type four. Type fours are the individualists. They also are knowing they have a deep desire to be original, deep, expressive. They can also be temperamental, but they just want to be unique. They want to be seen as rare, right? My sister-in-law, like, oh my gosh, I'm so rare. And we have a good friend who is like the four of all the fours. And I also have this other friend, Ben, this is like the greatest way I can say a four. Ben's like, there's like 27 definitions of love. And I'm like, no, there's one. Our friend is like, no, there are not four seasons that you can be your colors in. There's like a million, right? Like they want
Hmm.
things. They just want everything to be unique and individual and rare. And depending on where they are in the health scale, might depend on where you see them as creative. Sometimes they're called the creatives, and so people think like, oh, well, I'm not like artsy, so I don't think I can be a four. Well, that has nothing to do with anything. Like that's not my sister-in-law at all. Like she's not like painting photos on the weekends, but she does love being seen as unique. She doesn't like being thrown in group text messages. She likes personal invitations. It's more things like that. Their core fear is being inadequate, emotionally cut off, plain, mundane, defective, flawed, not being significant. Enneagram 2, 3s, and 4s tend to be really high in significance as the strength for strength finders. Their core desire, obviously, to be unique and special, to be their authentic self. Their core weakness is envy. Every single Enneagram 4 that I've ever talked to says, I'm so envious of how comfortable others are in their skin because they are dead convinced that the rest of the world is so much more comfy in their skin than they are. And that they feel like they were born with something missing, that they're just trying to find, they're just trying to hunt for. And their core longing is to be seen for who they are, as special and unique. So, are there any pieces of a four that stick out to you?
That being seen for who I am, but I feel like I'm pretty comfortable in my skin. I don't feel like I'm envious of anybody.
Yeah. You
I'm
don't feel like you were
lacking
born with like a
something.
little, yeah, you don't feel lacking.
No.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, let's move on to type five. Type fives are the investigators. I always call them like the professors, the researchers. They love, like, more is when they're learning, they love learning for the sake of learning. They love acquiring knowledge and information for the sake of learning. We have a mutual friend that is a five. And if I need something deep dived on, I know that I have these two fives that are friends. And I just know that they'll go crazy pants about it and like go to the deepest, darkest depths of the ocean about a certain topic. And that's great because I'm not like that. I only want to learn as much as I need to learn to get where I want to go. And then I'm over the learning thing. They're very perceptive, innovative, introverted, detached. Fives are born with a finite amount of energy every single day. They cannot bank it. Like you can't nap extra or introvert out a weekend and then expect to have extra energy to go through the week. It's just not going to be like that. If you're in a job that's wildly draining every single day, you're going to find that when you get home at the end of the day, you have no bandwidth left for your family. So it's important that you find a job that feeds you. I always say, Enneagram fives, it's like driving a Tesla, where if you drive a Tesla straight up the mountain, you're going to deplete that battery really, really quickly. Whereas if you drive on flat ground, you can get way more mileage out of it. So an Enneagram 5 has to think about that because their energy isn't the same. They only get that battery. And if they drive it straight uphill doing high demanding activities that really pull from their battery, they're going to get their battery depleted quicker. And there is no spare battery. Their core fear is being ignorant, invaded, incapable, or having obligations placed upon them. They do not like that. Their core desire is to be capable and competent. Their core weakness, basically, the core weakness of a five is basically that they are super afraid they're not going to have the resources that they need to have to do what they need to do. Okay. As an Enneagram 8 who goes to five in stress, I feel that. In my worst moments, my greatest fear is that I do not have the resources to do what I want to do. And a five faces that every single day. Like, do I have the time, the talent, and the treasure to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish? And their core longing to hear is that your needs are not a problem. So, for you, what out of those things, what really pops up for you?
Having like the energy level and the bandwidth, um,
Mhm.
trying not to like go to my human design too much because
Yeah.
that's a big piece of my human design.
Yeah.
Um,
but
that is
it's
something
real.
that really stands out to me as a five.
Yeah.
Learner, I believe, is my top strength, but
Mm.
I don't consider myself like my best friend is a researcher upon, she researches everything. I'm like, "Mm, yeah, give me the Cliff
Well,
Notes
but
version."
yeah, fives don't research everything. They deep dive on what's most important to them.
Yeah. So I guess like when you look at the work that I do, I've done pretty significant um training program, continued education, like so yeah, like things that I'm passionate about, things that I love,
Yeah. Yeah.
like whether it's a hobby or an interest or whatever,
Yeah.
like I'll deep dive that no problem.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's keep moving on. So, type six, they're known as the loyalists or the faithful guardians. They're loyal, responsible. They can be very anxious. They can tend to have higher anxiety. They can be like your doomsday preppers, the Chicken Little. What I love most about them is they have this ability to anticipate anything and everything that could ever go wrong. Their core fear is fear itself, being without support or guidance, being alone, blamed, targeted, or physically abandoned, right? For people to leave them. They can in stress a six goes to a three, so they can perform to make sure that people stay loyal to them and around them and with them. Their core desire is to have security, guidance, and support, and their core weakness is anxiety, right? Like they just like they are the sky is falling. They could possibly think about anything and everything that could ever go wrong. Analysis paralysis is their go-to, and their core longing to hear is, "You are safe. We've got you. It's all going to be good. I'm never going to leave you." Uh, my baby brother is this type. My doctor is this type, and I love it about my baby brother because, he's just loyal to a fault, maybe I suppose. And I love it about my doctor because she just tells me all the ways that I could possibly be unaliving myself, and then I pick the ones that are the most manageable for me to change. So I think it's fun that she just lets me know, all the things that I could be doing wrong. So what is there anything that out of this that sticks out to you? Like, do you ever have that? Do you ever have anxiety? Do you ever go to analysis paralysis, like in your worst moments, or any of this stuff at all?
I definitely don't consider myself to be a doomsday prepper.
Yeah. And when I say doomsday
Um,
prepper, it's more like, oh my gosh, like here's all the things that could go wrong. Not necessarily like you have 10 jugs of water and
no,
things of rice.
I'm just more like, oh, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Okay.
The cards will fall how they're supposed to. I definitely resonate with the loyalty piece though.
Okay. You feel that. You're like, yes, I am loyal.
Hmm.
Okay. We'll move on to a seven. So sevens are the enthusiastic optimist, the adventurer. They're known as entertaining, spontaneous, versatile. They can be a little scattered. They do tend to be pretty charismatic. Their core fear is being deprived, trapped in emotional pain, limited bored. They are the FOMO. They are the FOMO people, fear of missing out. They just want to squeeze all the juice out of all the berries of life that they possibly can. And again, their basic need is to avoid pain. Okay. A nine's basic need is to avoid anything that rocks a boat, but a seven is very specific to avoid things that could create pain for them. Their core weakness being gluttony, and that's just because the more is more. Like they just want to be able to have more out of the more. Their core longing is to know that you will be taken care of, right? So, is there anything out of that type seven that kind of pops out for you?
Um, Maybe it's just the season that I'm in. Like I'm all
Yeah.
about just making the most of it.
Yeah.
Being happy, satisfied, and content.
What's
Um,
what's motivating that for you though? Because
I do love adventure. I do love being spontaneous. Some of that does take a lot of energy, and I know that my energy is limited.
yeah,
So there's kind of like ooh, am I really a seven? Because I do have limited energy. Um,
I mean, I'm an Enneagram 8 who has more energy than most people, but my people bandwidth is very limited.
yeah.
So I
And
think
I would say,
you gotta be careful. I will say this. You got to be really, really, really careful, especially because I know you're pulling in the modality of human design. I want you to be really careful and cautious about pulling in that modality of human design and limiting yourself with it and labeling yourself with it. Because that's like me saying, like, well, I'm an Enneagram 8, so I have no patience and I'm an a-hole all the time to people. Well, that's just not true. It's just literally not
Right.
true. Because
Which,
I've grown and matured as a human and I have a lot of patience and I have a lot of compassion.
hmm
As a in human design, the modality of human design, as a projector, I have extremely limited people bandwidth. But a lot of people would say, oh, they have really limited energy. Well, that's not true at all. Their energy isn't limited. Their people bandwidth is limited,
hmm
right?
I feel like I've just kind of learned my limits. Like some of it is like if you know a specific individual or you know a crowd of people, you know like the dynamic of the environment you're going to be in, you
Yeah.
kind of know what to prep yourself for. So I feel like I've just kind of learned in various
Yeah.
situations of okay, I can only tolerate this person, this
Mhm.
space, this energy, whatever for so long, and then I've got to tap out or remove myself or be like, I'll be back in 20.
Yeah. But that also can
Um,
be, I want you to know like there's a little bit of that that can be a trauma response. So what you guys don't know is we've already had a coaching conversation. And when you come from years of intensity and burnout, right?
mhm,
Some of this is just a trauma response where your body is just
right.
recouping itself.
Right.
So with some of this, we have to think about our very best self, our 5-year-old self before all the wildness of the world happened. Like, who were we at our core then?
Yeah.
Before the burnout, right? Before the burnout and the betrayal,
And that's
who were you?
what makes this so interesting is like just figuring out like where it really is for me and
Mhm.
not coming out of those seasons of
Yeah.
recovery, if you will.
Yeah, it is recovery though. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's a factor to think about. I think about like the fact that you are in a season of
hmm
burnout recovery is real.
Um, in reading through like the core fear, I definitely don't like to be limited
Mm,
in really anything. Like restriction is not something, limits and restrictions are not something that I do well with.
yeah.
Um,
And
I
is
don't
it
like to miss out on exciting things either.
okay? So definitely a FOMO thing, limited, restricted. Um,
hmm
okay, so here's a question. So what I know about you is that you have also had a really long career in direct sales. At
hmm
the very beginning, what were the biggest things that made you go, I want to be in this. I want to be a part of this?
Ooh, that's a deep question. Some of it was the opportunity and the potential to like create and design my dream life. Like thinking back to when I was a little girl, like, and I saw a meme about this today. Actually, I shared it in my story that says, "Life
Yeah.
now is not what it looked like as when I was a '90s kid." I think I got cheated. Um,
Yeah.
but like going back to those little girl dreams, and
Yeah.
looking at some of that, but also the opportunity. I was raised in a sense where I kind of had to be self-sufficient and I had to take care of myself. And
Mhm.
so it was a way like to create that sustainability that I would always be taken care of. And I would never really have to worry about how the bills got paid, when the bills are getting paid, things like that.
Yeah. Because
But also just learning. There were seasons too where like I learned that my value wasn't placed on what I did or what I achieved. Like people saw me for the individual that I am
Mhm.
and that I had something to offer and it didn't just rely on like my activity
Yeah.
or accolades or like
When
if
you think
I
about,
set a goal and missed it, at the end of the day nobody cared because it didn't define me.
yeah, but when you think about being taken care of, I really want to go back to that because that was like some good stuff there. When you think about not, what was it like? Like, was there ever a time for you in your childhood where there wasn't enough, where it was
Oh
stressful?
yeah.
Definitely. Like, so you knew that life, like,
The first solid 13, 14 years.
yeah, was like very much. And when you think back to that, Did you feel limited? Like you didn't get to have the fun everybody else was fun having? Did you
Oh
feel
yeah.
out of like was it about that? Like I just want to do whatever in the world I can to avoid the pain that I felt by being limited and not getting to do all the things I wanted to do.
Hmm.
hmm And so I want to go after this opportunity that's going to create this income where I have, because there's freedom and flexibility, and then there's
Hmm.
autonomy, and they're very different. There's people who like they just want the freedom and flexibility to do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it.
And that was a big thing for me too.
hmm And autonomy is more like I don't want someone else to control my life. But freedom and flexibility is like I just want to be able to do whatever I want to do and have all the things to be able to do, and like more is more, and I want to have all of the money and the resources to go have all the fun that I want to have.
Yeah. It was more of a more of a freedom and flexibility, not so much an autonomy thing because
Yeah.
I've always been independent.
Yeah.
There I mean, it wasn't until I was 13, probably almost 14, that like
Mhm.
I even had like a consistent mother figure that like would take care of me.
Yeah.
So like I've always been the like the
Yeah.
taker care of me. So to have somebody else take care of me, like that's a learning curve.
Okay, okay, okay. Would you say that you tend to do the thinking, where it's like, are you more of like you more to go to your heart, do you more go to your head, or do you more go to like your gut anger? Would you say that you more go to your head for like the thinking, analyzation, paralyzation? Like, you would you say yes? Like if
Um,
somebody insults you, are you gonna overanalyze like what did they say and why did they say that? Are you gonna pretend like they didn't say anything? Are you gonna kind of like get up in your feels about it and cry about it? Like,
I'm really torn on that one because
yeah.
I it's probably subject to like who it is and what they say and what the situation is. It's either going to go like straight to the heart or I will go to my head. But when I go to my head, it's more so like why I want to know why they said that because like I know it's not true. Like what did I do something to make you say that and feel that
Yeah.
way, or like what happened to make you say that, feel that way? Like was it really me, or is it a
Yeah.
you problem that you're projecting on me? That's like
Yeah. That's a big thing for you. So when you
mm-hmm,
hear, okay, so the wounding childhood message of a seven can be, it's not okay to depend on anyone for anything. Like only I can do it. I got to take care of myself. Like if I want
mm-hmm,
something done, I got to do it myself.
yeah.
Do you feel that a little?
That was very those were very common words that I've heard throughout my
Yeah.
life. But I don't feel that that's really me. I don't believe that.
Real quick, before we dive back in, I want to share something I created for the women who are growing, but still kind of feel like they're doing it alone. If that statement just hit, then this is for you. I've never felt so aligned and so alone. It's the message I kept hearing as more and more women were falling in love with their life doing what they were born to do. They were craving that like minded, iron sharpening iron relationship with other women who were as focused, powerful, and determined to be positive as they were. And that is why I created the Growth Collective. It's our All Things Excellence book club community where you don't have to read the book because audio and PDF Cliff Notes are provided for you. There's a community for you to connect and network with other growth minded women, plus 2 monthly Zooms where you receive connection and live coaching from me. Head on over to chelseadbc.com/book club to join us. All right, let's get back into it because what you're hearing today is exactly why spaces like the Growth Collective exist. We were never meant to grow alone. Well, let's move on to an eight. Let's see how you feel about the last two. So, eights are known as the passionate protectors or the challengers, the aggressors, depending on where they're at in health. Very self-confident, assertive, big-hearted, can be confrontational. Their core fears being weak, powerless, harmed, or controlled, manipulated at the mercy of injustice. So, sevens and eights can tend to sometimes present very similar because a seven wants freedom and flexibility, but an eight wants autonomy. They just don't want to be controlled. They don't need to be in control, but they definitely don't want to be controlled. Their core desire is to protect themselves and those in their inner circles. Like they are the got your back, will like take somebody to the train station, like rip off a Yellowstone kind of
Mm-hmm.
friend. Their core weakness is lust or excess. They have this lust for intensity, right? Where they just want to like rip the mask off of things, maybe stir the pot. They got to push the limits on everything. And there is a fine line between them being a snow plow and a bulldozer, right? Bulldozers are paving down everything in their way, while snow plows are paving away, right? Bulldozers, right, tearing down the world.
Yeah.
Snowplow paving a way, opening the streets for the people to flood. And their core longing is that you will not be betrayed, right? That it is loyalty, but like sixes don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be abandoned and eights don't want to be betrayed, right?
Yeah.
Sixes don't want people to leave them, but eights don't want people. And when someone betrays an eight, they don't look at the person and go, they were bad, they were wrong. They look at themselves and go, oh my gosh, how did I miss that? How did I not see that in that person? How did I not see that
Mm-hmm.
coming? I was wrong. So what what
For
in that?
me, like that whole like, how did I miss that in that person?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not so much that I didn't see it coming because I did see it coming. I just
Yeah.
maybe didn't see it coming when or how. I don't I don't feel that I resonate with the like the need for intensity.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not afraid to challenge things, but
This is like
I it doesn't have to be intense.
yeah, they almost get
Um,
bored when like eights can get bored when things are just too chill. An eight feels like that they have to carry everybody on their back, like they're holding up the
mm,
world. And the growth for an eight is
no.
going from I will carry the world for you to I will empower you to carry the world for yourself. So that's like the ultimate peak emotional growth for them.
Yeah, I would say it's more so like if I'm the snowplow and you're following me, like I want you to feel like I'm a person you can follow, whether it's to learn from or follow in my footsteps of whatever it is that I'm doing. I would more so say like I just if you're gonna look at me as a snowplow, like I want to be looked at as that I'm loyal, I'm trustworthy, I'm a I'm a good person, I'm a source of good information. I won't lead you astray.
Okay. So like integrity.
Yeah.
Okay. So nines are the peaceful accommodators, known as the peacemakers also. They're peaceful, reassuring, accommodating, can be neglectful of themselves. They can deny themselves for the sake of keeping peace for everyone else. They tend to feel like their voice doesn't matter and that nobody wants to hear what they have to say. And my husband is this, my dad is this, my sister-in-law is this. I have a lot of nines in my life. And it is just that they really have to grow into this space where they realize that people don't just want to hear what they have to say and their insight, but they need to hear what they have to say and their insight. So their core fear is being in conflict, tension, discord, shut out, feeling overlooked or invisible. Their core desire to just have that inner stability and peace of mind. Again, they just don't want their boat of life rocked. They just want a peaceful boat. Core weakness is sloth, but not being lazy. It's falling asleep to being intentional at life. And Kobe will always say, oh, he'll be like, oh my gosh, I just want to sloth so hard this weekend. It was just so much this week. I want to sloth hard. I want to check out. It's almost like he wants to kind of forget that he is married because he just wants to check out of life. But he also knows that my love language is quality time. So he has to find a balance within that.
Mm,
But he wants to fall asleep to being intentional and just check the boxes and move through life. Their core longing is your presence matters. It's like your presence matters, your opinion matters. We don't just want to hear you, but we need to hear you. So, what pops up for you out of there?
I would say a little bit of that, like your presence and what you have to say matters, but I don't feel like I'm like begging in a way for my voice to be heard. Like I know that when I say something, like people listen.
Yeah, yeah. So, you don't feel that.
No, I
Like,
don't.
there's not really in any, there's probably not. So, would you say, like, there's not really any parts of the nine that hit for you?
Not a lot. No, I definitely don't feel like I'm the peacemaker. Like I,
Yeah.
there was a,
Well, and here's the thing, they're not running around creating peace. We call them the
no,
peacemaker. because they just don't want to rock the boat. Like they might see the
Oh,
thing that
I'm
needs
not
to
gonna
be
rock the boat. I'll
said.
sink it.
You know what I mean? Like they are okay, so like here's a great example. Okay, so we're sitting at my networking group last week. Here we are. You and me were sitting at my networking group last week. And this woman's complaining about how her business isn't converting and she's not getting enough sales and she needs to make more money. Well, you look at her and you go, "Well, I could tell you three things that you need to do different right now." But you know that when you tell her these three things, it's going to piss her off. She's going to be mad because she doesn't want to hear it.
Hmm.
But she's asking for advice. But like you just know she's gonna go bananas. Like her specifically, she's gonna give you all the pushback and she's gonna go bananas if you tell her these three things. As a nine, we'll pretend you're a nine. Now an eight is like, screw it. I don't freaking care. You can hate me. Don't really care at all. They're just going to be like, hey, chick, ABC, XYZ. The reason your business and your life is sucking is because you aren't doing these three things. And if you did, you would get what you want to get. And would start fighting me on it. And I would be like, I don't really care what you think or feel. Like, you're wrong. Like, at the end of the day, you are wrong. And this is why your stuff isn't converting. And so it's like, like that is not choosing peace. That's choosing confrontation.
Yeah,
And like
I
it's that like lust for intensity. It's like ripping the mask back.
sure.
Like, oh my gosh, making a mess of things. Whereas the
I
nine
would
is
say in a
like,
situation like that, I'm definitely more of like rip the band-aid off. I will be the one that rips the band-aid off. I'm the one that will probably initiate the hard conversation, not avoid it.
yeah, okay.
Um,
And why would you want to do that? Why would you want to rip the band-aid off for her and help her see what she needs to change?
like sometimes you just have to hear the hard stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
but why do you want to why do you want to help her? So if you rip the band-aid off and you give her these three things that she could change, what's going to happen? Is she going to be just like grateful that you did? She's going to be able to look up to you. You're going to feel like you helped change her life, you helped change her business. Like this is where you got to be so honest with yourself. Like you can't get Enneagram typed if you can't be honest with yourself and going, well, what internal satisfaction am I getting by ripping off the Band-Aid? Is she seeing
like
you?
just being able to help somebody, being able to offer insight and wisdom. Like sometimes like you're compensated in some way, and other times it's just like compensation of the heart. Like,
Yeah. I mean, so it's just the fact that you're helping her. Like
hmm,
you're just being helpful.
yeah,
And it feels like it just felt really good that someone needed you that day and you could offer them what they needed.
yeah. And sometimes it's a source of wisdom. For whatever reason, this made me think of an instance this summer. Somebody came and asked me, they're like, we heard that you put this book together, and that you're going to do it again. I need to do it. How do I do it? And I'm like, I put it in Google Slides.
Hmm.
That's all I did. I put the information in Google Slides, arranged it how I wanted it, and I hit print. And they're like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, whether you use Google Docs or Google Slides, it's essentially the same thing, but
Yeah.
this is what I did.
And how did it feel that you helped them?
Initially, it kind of caught me off guard. And I was like, you are way overthinking this. But I was like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah. Like,
Somebody saw, I guess somebody saw wisdom. I don't,
they saw, it's like, oh, they saw value in what I had to offer. They saw,
yeah, yeah,
like, did it feel good to be helpful? Did it feel good to be needed? Did it feel good to be like, oh my gosh, like I had my stuff together and they were impressed?
all of it,
Yeah. So a little bit
all
like,
of it.
oh, like, okay. So just in, you know, like, did you, did it feel good to feel significant and like you made a good
Yes,
impact on their life?
yeah,
Okay. So it felt good to feel significant. Okay, so what I want to do now, I mean, I think talking about the triads, so you can go to your gut with anger, you can go to your head and you can overanalyze, kind of like analyzation, parallelization, or you can just go to your heart. Let's say our mutual friend that we have that's a mentor to you in many ways, let's say she watches you do a color analysis thing, and at the end, she was like, we're gonna pretend she's super crass. She was just like, oh my gosh, that was a mess. Like, you're not paying attention. You're not listening to anything. That was terrible. You colored them completely wrong. Like, I think you need to go back and look at your certification. Like, I don't know what's happening to you, but like, that was a disaster. I need you to be super honest with yourself right now. Your real, true, immediate reaction, what would that very first emotion be?
I probably feel like a little bit of like wind out of my sails.
Yeah. Like, would you like go into like instant head mode, or would like you're kind of like, I need to like honestly, I just kind of want to sit and cry. Like, okay, I can't believe you just said that, and like that you get emotional. You're not gonna. I don't feel like you're gonna get angry.
No, I don't think I would get angry. Like I feel like it'd be a toss up of like almost like knocking the wind out of me.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, like
literally like just punches you in the chest and you can't breathe. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe it knocks the wind out of you because deep down the 5-year-old version of you wants to fall to the floor and cry because, I don't know, you feel like you didn't do it right or you looked wrong or whatever, but you don't want to cry because you were never allowed to cry as a kid. I mean, I don't know. And so instead you hold your breath and allow yourself to go into questioning mode.
I would say it would probably make me panic a little bit
Okay.
and have that like
Do you
go
ever
ahead.
get emotional?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um with that specific individual, I would probably get very emotional,
Yeah.
but that's
Like, do you feel,
because there's trust there. Like
yeah.
it took a long time to build that trust, and so with that person, I would get emotional. If it was
Yeah.
some random person off the street, no. Like if it was somebody like one of the two people that trained me, the
Yeah.
one I'd probably be like, okay, explain how I'm wrong. Like show me, tell me how I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Um
Well,
the
is it, do you feel what is the worst thing that would happen though if okay, so like let's pretend you and I are in a coaching scenario and all of a sudden you start having a mental breakdown and not like a full mental breakdown, but you just are having an emotional breakdown and you're just crying and sobbing. And then we get off the Zoom. What would be your greatest fears about how I felt and thought about you just sobbing?
a long time ago, I probably would have thought like the person's gonna wonder like what is wrong with me? Why won't she like get it together?
Yeah.
Um, but now like I don't I don't think I would care what somebody thought
Yeah.
if I like had that kind of a reaction
Hmm.
because you never know exactly what triggered it or like
Yeah.
led it to erupting the way that it did.
Okay, let's look
Like
at
I can't really say that it would be hard pressed emotional reaction. Like I feel like it'd be really whether it was the individual that we know mutually or if it was like somebody that I've done extensive training with, it would be like I would almost like challenge that part of me that my childhood self and a small part of my adult self that's still a little bit timid. Like
yeah.
I don't want to do it wrong.
Okay.
Um
Okay. So there's an I don't want to do
I
it wrong. Because what
yeah,
happens
like
if you do it wrong?
I mean, you do somebody's colors wrong, it can be real bad.
Yeah, but
Um
what's the worst thing that could happen if you did it wrong?
they go start dressing themselves in ways that are completely unflattering and not in the best color choices and they look maybe worse than what they came to you
Okay. And why does that matter?
because people want to be comfortable and confident in what they wear and they're looking to me as an expert and as a trusted source of knowledge.
Hmm. And so you feel then untrustworthy? Or what?
A little bit, yeah. Or that I like in that instance that like I wasted their time or their money.
Okay.
Um, or that I just like put them in a box to like roll through the motions.
I think the challenge for you is at the end of the day, like if we kind of wrap it up and summarize it, I think this is where Enneagram typing is so challenging sometimes because you were in a season, you lived in the season where your head was down and you were just doing the do, right? You were doing the do, you were checking the boxes, you were trying to go after the dream life because you wanted to create this sense of security. And I think when we look back, you know, you looked at that direct sales thing as this potential to create your dream life and to be taken care of. And you could look at it as like, oh, it would give me freedom and flexibility. But you could also look at it, what you were saying, as like, oh, it was going to give me security. It was going to give me this sense of security that I wasn't going to have to worry about bills being paid and things being taken care of, which is
Mm-hmm.
also a huge six behavior. And then it could be here's where it's like, well, that six, like you have tested as a three. Sometimes you have a lot of qualities that
Mm-hmm.
present as a five. There were definitely a lot of seven qualities that stuck out. And the thing about the efficiency and simplicity and lack of overwhelm, that screamed to me like somewhere in the six and nine category. I do think you're less likely to start crying and you're more likely to start going, okay, well, why did they say that? And what made them say that?
Right.
What happened? Which says to me, you're going to go,
Like for me to just like instantly start crying when someone says something, it would probably be depending on who it is and the relationship I have.
yeah.
I'm more so like the only way I'm gonna cry is if I'm just pissed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll
More,
more
you're
so
gonna,
resort back to
yeah,
like why. Care to explain?
yeah. And so I think it's super possible. I think it's really, really possible that you could have, been a six. But the hard thing is that, or been a six, be a six, because your childhood doesn't dictate your Enneagram. Your Enneagram dictates how you experience your childhood. And the crappy thing is that there wasn't safety, there wasn't security, there wasn't dependability, there was a lot of abandonment. And so that
Mm-hmm.
creates the most stressed version of you, which then would go to a three who's performing to feel loved, performing to belong, performing to have safety and security. And I think that could have been why you initially tested as one. I also think, again, a six can wing to a seven, it can wing to a five. And that's why I think you have a lot of those seven and five tendencies as well. So I think it's possible. I think the trick right now is that as far as like a wave goes, so in the last year, you have stepped out of this place where it was a lot of performing and a lot of burnout, and you've just been catching.
And just being expected like to just know everything on the spot.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everything about everything.
Yeah, yeah. You were expected to perform nonstop,
Yeah, for sure.
right? Like be a show pony. Like this is what we need. And it was information, right? Like it was basically like a trick pony, right? Where it's like, this is the info we need and we need you to give it to us right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? A high performance environment where, and that's how you responded to it, was performing, which then, definitely caused the burnout. So I think it's hard. It's really hard to find your Enneagram type when you're either living in extreme stress or you're in this place where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just catching my breath from extreme stress and burnout. Like I don't even know which way is up right now. I'm just trying to figure out how to find joy.
There's truth in that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that makes it challenging. So there you go, guys. It is like, again, this is why I hate the Enneagram tests. I love Enneagram typing because sometimes it's a matter of diving really, really deep. Like a lot of people, I'm not kidding, like I sat at a lunch meeting last week and I had someone's Enneagram type nailed within 6 minutes. Super easy, super fast. And then sometimes, here we are where it's like it's been well over an hour and we're kind of diving deep and digging into that. And it just depends on where someone is in their part in life. And just I also want people to know like it isn't always a great time to figure out your Enneagram type. Like sometimes it's just not a great time in life and you need to find more stability because you don't really know. You're like, I don't actually really know how I feel and I don't know what I would do because you're kind of in a season of deconditioning and figuring out
Mm-hmm.
who you really are compared to what the world's told you who you need to be.
For sure.
Absolutely, right? So sometimes it's a good season, sometimes it's not. Um, and so
And
like,
I think I'm a good example of different seasons or different types. I see like where there was a season I was a strong three. I can look and see where I was maybe a little bit more of a five, and now I see where I maybe am closer to a six.
yeah, your Enneagram type will never change. You're born.
Interesting.
Yeah, it literally will never change. So what you were just saying, what you were just saying would actually make you more of a type three because that would say like you're chameleoning per se to the season that you're in, becoming that season that you're in. And like
Mm.
that's the image that you're presenting to the world, you know? But yeah, you only get one Enneagram type your whole life. Because at the end of the day, it's what's motivating you to show up that way. Like what was motivating you to look like a three? What was motivating you to look like a five? What was motivating you to look like a six? But at the end of the day, the motivator underneath is it's always the same. But what I'm saying is you can't always get typed because sometimes you don't even know who you are. You don't even,
Sure.
no matter how many questions somebody asks, like, but why do you do this and why do you do that? Like, no one, you don't even know because at like trauma can cause us to be unaware and unsure.
Very true.
Hmm. Yeah. Like it, obviously, I've known that I've been working with the Enneagram for a long time, over 8 years. And it was just probably in the last year, with my own mom that we really sat on what her Enneagram type was. And honestly, her mom had to pass away to kind of figure it out. My grandma passed away 5 years ago, and I felt like after she passed away, and my mom really started that deconditioning process because my grandma had a very strong personality. It was when she was able to step in and go, "This is who I am." When someone is no longer telling me who I am.
Sure.
Hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, I say that all the time. I'm like, hey, man, it's not always the perfect season for the Enneagram. There's been seasons where I've tried on other Enneagram types like crazy. And I have to ask myself, okay, well, shoot, at the end of the day, like, what is the actual emotion? Right? Because a two, three, and four are the heart. A five, six, seven are the head. An eight, nine, one are the gut anger. And because counterphobic sixes and eights can present very similar. And then I just had to go, no, at the end of the day, it just pops out of my mouth without a thought in the world. Like, nope, still an eight. Ah, you know. Or if I want to question myself, like, oh my gosh, am I a three? And it's like, sometimes I wish. I wish that my driver was just to be successful, um,
Sure.
and to be significant and, that I'm like creating change in the world. It's like, for the sake of other people. Like, but it's not it. So yeah. But all right, all things excellence fam. Yeah, that's a typing session. And if you feel like you're in that space where you want to figure it out and you want to be asked like the deep, deep questions of like what is the why behind the why behind the why, and figuring out what is actually motivating you to have that behavior, not what behavior are you having, but what is the motivation that lies deep within that. Definitely, head on over to our website and email us at hello@chelseadbc.com. We do not have typing sessions available on our website. They are by rare appointment only, but you can always reach out and ask if you can have one or listen back to this session and just see what resonates with you. And I recommend just trying it on. Try it on like a jacket or a hat. You can keep it on for a little while and then maybe try on another one and see how you're reacting to different situations. So, thank you everyone for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to All Things Excellence. If something landed with you today, I'd love for you to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a quick review. It helps more women find these transformational conversations. And if you're ready for support with your next step, or needing someone to stand in the gap with you to figure out what that even is, I'd love to create that space for you, and my intro clarity call is a great place to start. Because life is too quick and too full to have to figure it out alone. Until next time, All Things Excellence fam, thank you for listening.